Q&A with Sr Angelina Julom, psychologist and university teacher. Sr Angelina Julom joined the Sisters of the Holy Family of Nazareth as an aspirant in 1985, visiting informal settlers and providing spiritual needs, like sacraments and Bible studies. She also taught nursery students during her earlier years as a nun, making her final profession of vows in 1996. During high school, she noticed that relatives and friends would approach her and confide about things that troubled them. Her advice helped ease their woes, but she believed she needed training to become more capable of helping people experiencing challenges in life. She completed a bachelor's degree in psychology at St. Joseph College of Quezon City after a period of discernment, finished her master's in clinical psychology in 2004 and started teaching at the University of Santo Tomas in 2005. In 2009, she completed her doctorate in clinical psychology at UST, the oldest university in the Philippines, run by the Dominicans. Julom enjoys seeing patients at the Nazareth Psychosocial Wellness Center for Individuals and Families in Cainta, Rizal, Philippines. As a nun, she finds people trust her even more as a psychologist. GSR, how long have you been teaching psychology? And how do you advise your students? Julom, I started teaching in 2005 as an instructor. Then, I became an assistant professor in 2012. I always remind my students to set goals and write them down. I also ask them to focus on their goals. If they want to graduate with Latin honors, I tell them to set their objectives daily. I often tell them that when they plan for the future, they should always include their parents. They should never forget that their parents are instrumental in finishing their studies. They should also let their parents feel that they are concerned about them. I encourage them to show care, especially when their parents are tired from work, like offering a massage. Even simple gestures of love like that can please their parents. Some young people today believe that they did not ask their parents to give birth to them and that their parents should not ask for responsibility. But that is painful for their parents. So, I let my students understand that their parents will get old and become helpless. This is the time to pay them back. That's the responsibility of children to their parents. And parents see hope in their children. I also remind my students that they will become parents, get old and need care. GSR, how long have you been seeing patients? Julom, the people who asked me for guidance were the ones who inspired me to study psychology. Even before I entered the convent, people confided in me and asked for guidance. I gave them advice based on what I learned from the Bible. My parents were very religious. I grew up very religious, too. Before I entered the convent, I was a catechist. I was a leader of catechists and provided formations. After I entered the convent, people still asked me for guidance, and I was willing to help them, and took it seriously. Then, I felt I should study psychology because it seemed that something would be missing if I gave advice from only the spiritual perspective, since there's also the human side. When the patient is not religious, advising may not go smoothly. Some non-religious patients are too shy to talk and ask for forgiveness from God. They think of themselves as not worthy of His attention. Julom, yes, very much. For me, my spirituality is my relationship with God. And when I do things, I believe it is God's will. So, when a patient comes to me, I say, Lord, you are the one who brings this person to me. Help me to help this person because you are the one who knows what he needs. That is effective for me because psychology without spirituality is limited. I sometimes get so tired when a patient becomes very dependent on me. Even at night they call, especially when they have anxiety and panic attacks. Some are even suicidal. I found a type of psychotherapy that is psycho-spiritual, very effective. It's called logotherapy, healing through meaning. Logotherapy was developed by Viktor Frankl. Like Frankl, I believe that when the psychological and physical aspects of the person are weak, he has to hold on to his spiritual side because the spiritual side of the person does not get sick. In my clinical practice, I find logotherapy very effective. Many people who have problems tend to look for spirituality. Because they can't handle their problems anymore, they look for someone more powerful. Of course, they come because they trust the psychologist. But we, as psychologists, also seek to reconcile the person with God because they are afraid to relate with God because they feel guilty. So, I tell the patients that forgiveness is important. They are, truly, loved by God, and God is merciful and the most loving. This gives them assurance and confidence to face their problems back.